All right. What is up, everybody? I am officially in Santa Clara, close to Levi Stadium, testing out this connection to see how it's going to go with this hotel or if I got to get crafty. Guess we're about to find out. Shows that it might be spotty. I don't know how it looks on y'all's end. But if we can get it in, I'd like to get this call in show going. I think it's a good time to talk to you, see where your head's at, see what you want to find out from camp, and really just talk about everything that's happened so far in camp. So many little things have happened. And then, of course, the one area that the 49ers can't afford to lose people, offensive line, tons of injuries. So we got to talk about it. Then we got to talk about some of the quarterback contracts. Really, it's your show, open mic nights for you. But there's some things that I think are worth talking about. So we'll get to it, and we'll get to it all next. All right. Welcome back to Last Second Sports, where we are giving you our take down to the last second. While I'm here, like I said, I see the connection's pretty unstable at this hotel room. You guys let me know in the chat how good it is. If I'm glitchy, am I robotic? Like, what's going on your end? Because that's really what's important. As long as I can freeze up on my end all day long. As long as you see me and hear me, then we're good to go. So let me know in the chat. Let me know how things are going on your end. We good? All right, perfect. Well, I'll just keep going then. All right, listen, link is pinned to the top of the chat. So if you want to call in, that's your avenue to do so. Brother Bob, I see you in the chat. What's up, Sal? What's up, Kieran? Yaz? Everybody's here. All right. Perfect. This is great. Okay. While I'm waiting for people to tap in, like I said, link pinned to the top of the chat. Let's talk about some of these injuries. It's all right. I can be blurry. You don't need to see me as long as you can hear me. Let's talk about some of these injuries. So Spencer Burford, broken hand. They're trying to debate on whether or not he needs surgery. But it sounds like we're talking 3-4 weeks regardless until he's back, which isn't bad. The unfortunate thing is this is year 3 for him. This is like the make or break year on whether or not he's going to be a long-term starter for this team. It looked like they were going to give him every opportunity to do so. The first couple of practices, he was the starter. And then he sat out yesterday, and now his hand's broken. So it's unfortunate news for him. The good news is that Dominic Pooney, rookie guard out of Kansas, as you know, what's up, Steve-O, is getting his opportunity now. He's getting his opportunity. So that's going to be more reps for him, which I think in the long run is pretty good. But you look at the injury to Burford, you look at Trent Williams still not being there, you look at Brendel, who had knee tendonitis, you look at Feliciano, who sat because of some knee things. I don't know. This is the position where we worry the most, yet somehow it's gotten worse. Like 3 days into camp, it hasn't even gone to pads yet. That's the crazy part. That is the crazy part. So, yes, every team does have injuries. I know. Speaking of Rams, I think we got a Rams guy in here. Let's see. Is it all messed up, Yaz? Let me know. Is it messed up? But we do have a Rams guy in here. Y'all already lost a corner for the whole year. A starting corner out for the whole year. That's kind of a big deal, yeah? All right, we're good. Yeah, so Rams, you lost a corner for the whole year. Practice 1, torn ACL, not good. Nobody wishes injury, but you're in here talking about how the 49ers are not going to win the division Yet you just lost a key defensive player and Aaron Donald retired. I know. What are you going to do? You know what? It's F the internet here in Santa Clara. Everything's McDonald's Wi-Fi here, apparently. Something about when you travel, man. I just wish I could bring my internet from my house everywhere that I went. That would be fantastic. But that's not the way that it works. Or just like a chance to hardwire in. That would be great too. I'll take that. Anyways, so yeah, injuries are piling up. Receiver position. So that's the offensive line. Let's look at the receiver position. Much like the offensive line spot, you've got a major player holding out in Brandon Ayuk. You've got both rookies now with hamstring pulls. You've got Ricky Pearsall and you've got Jacob Cowing with hamstring pulls. So the receiver position fallen by the wayside very, very quickly. Everybody's getting hurt. Just not ideal. Not ideal. Knowing that Hafunga's already out, knowing that Devondre Campbell's already going to be playing for Greenlaw most likely. Just a lot of nagging little things. Now, the good news is we talked about the Rams, how they lost a corner for the whole season already. Nobody's lost for the season for the 49ers. We're talking a couple weeks here, there, whatever. Unfortunately, some of these injuries are happening to rookies who are going to be fighting for a spot, not only on this roster, but playing time as well. So, not ideal, but no serious injuries. Nothing crazy as far as that goes. Just some things they got to deal with. And remember last year, like the trip to the Super Bowl was probably the most injury-free this team has been. I mean, looking up the stats of games that were missed, this was the healthiest this team had been in over 10 years. Predating the Harbaugh era. That's how healthy this team was. So, Rams sweep? Who? Seattle? They're not sweeping the 49ers. I'll guarantee that. Think about it like this. When was the last time the Rams even beat the 49ers in the regular season? I get it. You won the game that mattered. All credit to you. Give me the Super Bowl victory. I'd much rather be the Rams right now over the last couple of years and have that Super Bowl. But we're usually beating the Rams in the regular season. Like, I'll give you all the benefit of the doubt and say we go 1-1. But as far as the Rams sweeping the 49ers, that's not going to happen. It's just not. I mean, this is a good point. This is a very, very good point. Lost the head trainer. He went to the, Atlanta Hawks. And then the 49ers, interestingly enough, the 49ers tend to do this where they hedge their bets. It's like you got rid of your defensive coordinator and then you hired two to do the job. You lost your head trainer and you hired two to do the job. When you draft a player early in the draft, you tend to also draft a player at the same position, hedging your bets. 49ers do that an awful lot. It's worked out really well for them. Just an observation. But yeah, I mean, this is great point, right? I mean, lost their head trainer, have some injuries. I don't necessarily think the injuries are because the head trainer's gone or anything like that. But what I am curious about is the rehab process. Like, can the players get back within a reasonable time frame? And how much of that is on the trainer, the head trainer being gone? So those things matter. Those things definitely matter. And I agree. I mean, listen, ultimately the head trainer's not out there like going Tanya Harding on all the players, right? I get that. But it is something to monitor. And it doesn't matter. Even with the head trainer here, they'd been injury prone like crazy. It was last year that they got really, really lucky with injuries. One of the healthier teams in the NFL, the healthiest, like I said, they have been in over 10 years. Can you expect that again? Well, I think the early returns are no, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Yeah. So camp wasn't open today. It's not open to the fans today. There's no practice tomorrow. And then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I'll be at camp. Friday, I'll be at camp. And then coach is actually en route. He's in Chicago now. He'll be here later tonight. He and I staying here. We're attending all the practices together, and then we're going to stream together. Live streams together, but we got to get this internet figured out. Luckily, I think he might have a solution, but, here we go. '49er Josh, Seeker of Truth, says, "What's good, Jesse? Always a pleasure to see you on, good sir. It's always a pleasure to see you in the chat. Appreciate you. All right, listen. Link is pinned to the top of the chat. Click the link, call in. Let me know what your thoughts are. And then let me get to this quarterback pay thing, because don't know if you've been sleeping under a rock or not, but a couple quarterbacks got paid. Now, they were paid very differently, which is interesting because the way that I understand it is Tua and Jordan Love are both represented by the same agency. Now, the similarities are they both got paid on the same day, obviously. They both got 4-year deals, which is interesting because the precedent had been set at 5-year deals. Now, I don't know if that's going to be the trend going forward, if that's a player agent thing, or if that's a team preference thing. I think we'll have to see how it plays out going forward with a lot of these other quarterbacks, but usually we're used to 5-year deals here. I would understand why Miami would want to only have a 4-year deal with Tua. That makes all the sense in the world. And actually Green Bay too with Jordan Love, because Jordan Love really only has a half a season of production. Tua, although the production is there, the statistics are there, there's something off with Tua. Like Tua can't produce in crunch time. Tua often plays very conservative when games are tight. And he's not the reason that they win those games. So there's something with Tua that still has to be proven. Plus, you add in the injuries. I don't know. I wouldn't have paid Tua. That's just me. But if you're going to pay him, I think a 4-year deal is the way to go. But that's where the similarities end. Because from that point on, if you look at the way the contracts are structured, Jordan Love got a really, really, really big signing bonus, which is going to be spread out over the course of his contract. But what that does is it lowers his cap hit early on in the contract. See, most contracts, the way that they're written, the first couple of years, your cap hit is low, and that's by design. Now, if you have a 5-year deal, you can spread that out even more and make those cap hits lower for longer. On a 4-year deal, it's a little bit harder. But the way that you offset it a little bit is with that signing bonus, so that you're not giving a guaranteed roster bonus or anything like that. The Dolphins did the opposite. They gave Tua a really low signing bonus, but they gave him a roster bonus essentially year one of that deal next year. And his cap hit already starts out super, super high, which is not normal. But on the flip side, after 2 years, they can get out of Tua's deal for, I think, like $19 million. So the way the contracts are written are very, very different. And it just goes to show you there's so many different ways that you can structure a contract. And so when we talk about Brock Purdy and we talk about raw numbers like 153 million, or 53 million a year, 220 million, the big astronomical numbers that are always reported, there's always something lying underneath that you have to look for. So until you get the fully guarantees, until you get the outs of the contract, the signing bonuses, what have you, it's really hard to decipher whether a contract is team friendly, player friendly, and sometimes it's somewhere in the middle. I'll give you an example. Trevor Lawrence, when he signed his deal, oh my gosh, that couldn't have been more team friendly. Now you look at the average annual value, you look at the total number, and you're like, hold on. Trevor Lawrence really hasn't proven a lot here. Why is he getting such a big number? But when you look at the way the contract's broken out, it is so favorable for the Jacksonville Jaguars. They have outs after a couple years. The cap number is extremely low all the way through. They just did a masterful job in writing that contract. I think Jordan Love's contract, it's written closer to the way that Lawrence's is, but the difference is it's a 4-year deal, so it's harder to kind of hide some of that money. And then Tua, I mean, I don't like the high cap hit next year, but I do like the fact that they can get out after 2 years. So it goes to show you that Miami probably doesn't fully trust Tua yet. So they want to see more. We may want to see more from Jordan Love, but it looks like the Packers, remember, last year was his first year starting, but he's been in the league for like 5 years now. They trust Jordan Love. They like what they've seen in Jordan Love. That's the way they wrote that contract, is for it to kind of build up through the years, save money early on to continue to build around him. But they don't have an out after 2 years the way the Miami Dolphins do. The way Miami wrote their contract, they don't trust Tua. In my opinion, that's the way that I'm reading that. So teams will always tell you 4-year deals versus 5-year deals. What do the outs look like? What do the fully guaranteed look like? There's always something in there that's hidden in all of these contracts, which again goes back to the Ayuk situation and the Trent Williams situation, where Brandon Ayuk, to me, he wants more guaranteed money. If you look at the Amon-Ra St. Brown deal and some of those other deals, the guaranteed money isn't that great. The average annual value at $30 million, that's awesome. But what is guaranteed? And then Trent Williams, you look at his cap number, it's extremely high. However, the overall is he doesn't have any guaranteed money. He wants the guaranteed money. That's why he wants his contract reworked. That's why CMC got his contract reworked. So, devil's always in the details. Nails, do you think the Pack can really go from Favre to Rodgers to Love and hit again? I mean, that's tough. Very fortunate, very lucky. I don't know. I mean, Love, the early returns are great, but again, it's such a small sample size. I mean, I talk about Brock Purdy having a year and a half. I talk about CJ Stroud having a whole year, and how I still want to see more. You should want to see more. But I mean, Love, we're talking like an 8-game stretch and a playoff win. I mean, it's good, but you got to want to see more. The problem is because it took so long for him to start, they can't see more. Last year, they reworked the agreement on the 5th-year option so they could see more last year. I think they saw what they needed. And then, there you go. Yeah, man, I did see that on Twitter. Juice got hacked big time, and somebody was trying to scam his followers, getting MacBook Pros and Apple products, and then just taking all your money. What's up, Certified? Appreciate you tapping in. I see you over there on Maze's streams. All right, JC says, Jesse, you know the cap. Can the 49ers find the money to pay Trent and BA, or is it one or the other? No. They can afford both. They can afford both. Really, the choice is BA and Debo going forward. That's the real choice. BA and Debo. And really, because Brock Purdy's contract doesn't get massive for probably 2 more years, he'll play next year, and then maybe even the year after before it really, really hikes up. Not even be able to afford Debo for 1 more year. They have money. The problem's going to be the depth, though. They can afford all their big guys, but the depth is where the issue comes in. Right now, the 49ers are set. Well, I keep saying the number's 39, but that's under the assumption that BA is signed. He's not. So 40 unrestricted free agents going into next year. That's a lot of depth. That's a big turnover of a roster, right? You think about that. That's a massive turnover. Now, the main players are here, but Charvarius Ward's a really good player. Right now, he's an unrestricted free agent. As of right now, BA is as well. I think he'll get signed. Diamador Lenore, unrestricted free agent. Talanoa Hafunga, Dre Greenlaw. There's a lot of players. I think Juice might be. So there's going to be some turnover. I think they can keep the main guys, but as these guys are aging, it's like you gotta make a decision. Like, do we want to keep hanging on, especially if they don't win? If they win, you can give them the autonomy of like, hey, let's bring it back together. But if they fall short again, it's time. It is time to blow it up. Not completely, but just get that retool and get rid of some of these older guys and move on. Save the cap money, rebuild through the draft, take a 1 or 2 year down years where you might sneak into the playoffs or you might fall just short, and just retool this whole thing, man. If they don't win it this year and they keep this main core together and try to do it again next year, as a fan, I'd be pulling my hair out. It's like, how many chances do you get? Shady Luke says Tua got shook from running again. Legit. Are you just saying like him in general? I don't think he's just not very mobile. And he gets spooked when people are around him. I don't know. Listen, statistically, and this is where I just, when people debate with me and they bring up statistics and that's their main source of argument, it's like, you can't watch the game, in my opinion. You can't watch and trust Tua and think he's a really, really good quarterback. But statistically, if you look at Tua, man, Tua led the league 2 years ago. He did what Brock Purdy just did, basically, where he led the league in yards per attempt. He led the league in QBR. And then he followed it up this year by leading it in total yards. Statistically, Tua measures up to the best. But Tua's not a very good quarterback, in my opinion. He's a mediocre starting quarterback. I wouldn't pay that. I think Brock's way better than Tua. They have some minor differences. I think Tua throws a better deep ball. I think accuracy-wise, they're pretty similar. I actually think overall, like short game arm strength, though, like just pure velocity, I think Brock might have a little bit more juice. And then Brock's way more mobile. And Brock plays gutsy. Tua doesn't. Tua has no guts. None. Brock, if the game's on the line, you're not going to win every time, but you're going to get Brock's best. Brock is going to do everything he can to win that game. You're not getting that from Tua. So for me, give me Brock over Tua all day long. Shoot. Hold on a second. Just missed. Somehow it closed out of a chat. There we go. Frank Tom Ocean, member for 16 months. Appreciate you, Frank Tom Ocean. Says, Jesse, hope all is well, brother. It is, man. I'm blessed. Here in Santa Clara, getting ready for training camp in a couple days. Pads go on Monday. The first block, if you remember, Ricky Pearsall's injury, after the first block of practice, they were going to reevaluate and hope that he'd be there for block 2. Well, block 2 is Monday. That is block 2 of practice. That's also day 1 of pads. So, maybe we'll see some Ricky Pearsall. That'd be ideal. Shady Luke says their whole team ain't built for the playoff weather. You're talking about Miami? Yeah. No, that's true. You know, when I knew Miami was in trouble, it was 2 years ago. They were playing, might have been like the Patriots. Anyways, it was like 52-degree weather. They traveled with their mobile heaters in 50-something degree weather. That's when I knew this team's they're not built for the playoffs. They are not built for the playoffs. Track meet. If the Miami Dolphins were in a dome, hell, you know what? If Miami Dolphins were in the NFC, they'd have a hell of a lot clearer path to winning some games in the playoffs. Because it simply isn't as cold. There's not a lot of East Coast teams that are playing outside in the NFC. Like you got Philly, obviously, you got Washington, but Washington's not making the playoffs. Philly is, maybe you have to go there. But I mean, who else? Who do you have to worry about? The Lions play indoor. Bucks, obviously, they're in Tampa, so that's always warm weather. 49ers. I think I'm back. Back. We're back. We're back. We're back. Okay, we're back. Sorry, guys. Listen, I can't control the internet here. All right. But I was talking about the path for the Miami Dolphins would be a hell of a lot easier in the NFC. Obvious reasons. But, you know, Tua's in the AFC. And the Miami Dolphins chose to sign him and chose to build the track meet team. And it's just not ideal for the AFC, especially the AFC East. They got to travel to Buffalo, New York, and New England, all outdoor stadiums. I don't know. If I was a Dolphins fan, I wouldn't be feeling great. I wouldn't be feeling great about it. Just letting you know. Feel a lot better about Brock than I do Tua, that's for sure. All right, y'all. Listen, if you're not going to call in and my internet sucks, this might be a short stream. If you guys want to talk through the chat, you can do that too. Send your questions through. Miami had no choice but to extend to it. They have a small window and they're taking it. What window are we speaking of, though? I mean, let's be real. What window? They haven't even won a playoff game with Tua. They have 0 playoff wins with Tua. It's not a window. That's a perceived window that they hope they can take advantage of, but what's the proof? So you had no playoff wins with Tua, then you sign him to more money and expect playoff wins? I don't know about all that. I don't know about all that one. Also, you don't have to pay these guys. If these guys aren't worth it, you don't have to pay them. What's up, brother Bob?
What's up, my brother? How you doing?
Doing good, doing good.
Good to see you, man. I can't wait to hear and see all about the camp news, my brother. I'm just looking forward to it.
I know. You know what I got to do, brother Bob. I was thinking, when we go to camp, you hear about like kind of everything that's going on, but nobody really shows off like what it's like at camp as if you were there. You know what I mean? So I think I'm going to go in and record like the walk in so that everybody understands exactly what the vibe is like there. And then
That'd be
that way
good.
you guys kind of get a feel. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Oh, that'd be really good. Man, I can't wait. It's that time of the year. Here we go. Niner football. I'm excited. But
I
then I
know,
think
bro.
about what you said.
I said, I know, bro. Then you think about what? Now you're about to drop some negativity on me. Go ahead, brother Bob. Go ahead.
No, because I can't help it but think about this team going in with Kyle Levy. Like, let's think about it. The whole thing with Trent Williams is just beyond belief. You knew he was old. I mean, I'm not saying he should retire, but you knew he was old. You have to replace him. And you knew this before the draft, and you didn't do diddly squat on that. Okay. And it's 4 p.m. So it's a family show, so diddly squat. All right. You didn't do anything to prepare. Why not? Now he's holding you by the nutsack because you have no one else that can stand in for him at the left tackle position. Why, Kyle Levy? Why? I don't get it. Yet we see the Chiefs go and get the dude we wanted, Kingsley, so bad, and he might start, they are saying, out of their camp. Like, what say you on that? Did you freeze?
Well, hold on. First of all, no. Can you hear me at least?
Yeah, I hear you. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. First of all, brother Bob says it's 3 o'clock. It's a family show, and then he follows it up with nutsack, which interesting choice. Interesting choice. Uh, just throwing that out there. But yeah, I mean, as far as the offensive line, listen, brother Bob, I don't know. I don't. And here's what worries me: the 49ers without Trent Williams. Not that they're going to be without him all year. They're going to sign him. I get all of that. But without him, they struggle to win games. And they have no long-term viable option for him at all. At all.
That's my point.
And here's the other thing. Brother Bob, here's the other thing. Here's the difference. When they drafted Ricky Pearsall, Ricky Pearsall's path to the field this year is through injury. Other than that, he's not going to get a lot of burn. That's just the way it is. Now, next year, he probably will going forward, what have you. If they had drafted a left tackle to replace Trent Williams, he has a path to the field through the right tackle position, which isn't very strong either.
Right. Exactly. Plus, guy could be,
I don't know.
And he could be trained by Trent. You know what I'm saying? Right now. Plus, as you pointed out, I think on other shows, Trent is known to miss a game or two. So I just don't get why we didn't address that position. But I'm still excited now. Niner fans, still excited. Want to hear all the camp news. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. One other thing. Did Grant really say that on yesterday, Friday, Moody missed a short kick field goal to the right? Did I really hear that?
Yeah.
What? Okay. We got to do something with that. Hopefully, I don't want to see our kicker, we spent a third round pick on, go into the playoffs being as unreliable, or should I say reliable, to miss a kick every single game. I don't want that. So please look at him. I know it's not sexy, okay, to look at.
No, of course I'll look. I will.
But yeah, I just want to know about that.
Well, Steve-O does. Well, hold on. Steve-O does accurately point out that Moody right now is 11 for 12 throughout camp. He did miss one.
Yeah.
So it's not all bad. It's not all bad.
Okay, I get that. But for what we drafted this guy to do, I just want to make sure that going into this training camp that you see open to the public, that we see something good. I mean, one miss, fine. You're right, Steve-O. 11 and 12 is okay. But when he goes, because wasn't he good last year during the training camp? And then the game started, he got a little shaky lakey. So I got a problem with that. Please let us know how he looks. Plus also special teams with the new rules. Anyway, can we go into one other topic I got to talk about?
Yeah, of course. Go ahead.
Okay, all right, good. So I really want to know this, man. How does Debo look going against Yadam? According to what we heard from Grant, he's been kind of blanketed by Yadam. So I want to know, is Yadam really good, as what we're hearing so far? And conversely, about Debo, how is he looking not just against Yadam, but is his problem really what we saw in the Super Bowl? Sticky man press coverage. Because with that being said, I think we have to do something about getting BA back in back in camp and back on his team ASAP.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that wholeheartedly. Regardless, BA brings a skill set that nobody else brings, unless Ricky Pearsall or Calvin bring it, and we haven't had a chance to see it because those guys unfortunately are hurt right now. But yeah, I mean, BA is going to be important. Certainly, I think it's interesting because Debo's in really really good shape, but that doesn't mean that he's a really really good route runner. Like those things don't necessarily go hand in hand. When I hear he's in good shape, I'm like, all right, maybe he'll be able to stay healthy. He's going to be more explosive after he catches the ball and breaks a tackle. He'll be able to get up to speed a lot quicker. All those things are fantastic, but that doesn't translate to running routes better and beating man press because you're in better shape. So I'm curious about that as well.
I'm very curious about that because I think all this does is helps BA get the amount, the money that he wants and the amount. Genius card.
Oh, let me ask you this. Who do you think gets a deal first, Trent or Brandon?
Trent. Easily Trent.
But all these guys are skipping poor BA, man.
Well, first of all, BA was in the doghouse. So, there's something between he and Kyle. And, so I don't think Kyle sees BA as an obvious need, although he is there. But I think just like what we saw with CMC, they're going to pay Trent first. I hope I'm wrong, but I think that's what's going to happen.
Well, I mean, Trent's more important. We know that. I mean, if you got to pay one, you got to pay Trent, unfortunately, for BA. You know what I mean? But it's the way it's got to be. Like they can win without Ayuk. I'm not saying win a Super Bowl, but if you were to spell out a season without Brandon Ayuk, you could see a path where they still make the playoffs and win, 10, 11 games. Without Trent, they might not make the playoffs.
Oh, Purdy won't survive a whole season without Trent.
No.
I mean, can you imagine his blind side unprotected and then they won't be able to run to that side? Oh, hell no. Did you read your last Super, by the way?
I brought it up on the thing. It says, will Kyle get his genius card taken this season?
No, he's going to get a double. Yeah.
He's always going to be.
So, Jesse, real question here. They have look at the coach. Look at the coach. Is he late though? Was he supposed to be there when you're supposed to be there, Jesse?
No. I don't know what. Coach isn't good at booking flights. That's what I learned. Like when you've never actually met somebody in person, you learn something new. Like meeting them in person is different. I haven't yet met him in person, but what I can tell you is this is a developing process here. Coach is not good at booking flights, but anyways, go ahead.
All right. So he may or may not make it. Let me just say what up to the chat. I love seeing the chat. We got some good people there. Kenny 49ers, KB, Nick Nice, PDX. I love that PDX guy, man. You got a lot of good people in this chat. But no, seriously,
I was going to say, let me throw this out there real quick. I do want to say, I jump in everybody's chats, mostly everybody, and show some love and support or whatever. I got to say the crew over here is like the best mix of all the other content creators. I feel like I get the best of the best over here. I really do feel that way. And I know that these guys watch a lot of other shows, but I just feel like this chat, 99% of the time, is vibing, getting along, and just having fun together. That's the way I feel about it. I like
and you're right. And we're barely listening to you, but I mean,
which is perfect, which is even more fun. Who wants to listen to me? You're just here to hang out. I'm totally fine with that. Zero ego.
Yeah, but yeah, man. Seriously now. So they have to sign Trent this week, right? They have to give him an extension, right? They have to give him more guaranteed money like they did at CMC, right?
Yeah, it doesn't have to happen this week necessarily, but yeah, they've got to do it soon.
No, they got to do it this week, Jesse. They have to do it this week.
That's the brother
Ain't
Bob
no
time
way,
limit. I
bro.
get it.
Pads are going on. I know they can't touch Brock, but man, the last thing we need is Brock twisting something, a high ankle sprain, or hurting the knee or something, trying to get away from some idiot that blew past, someone who blew past idiot Jalen Moore or idiot on the other side with McGivitt. So they gotta just bring Trent back in if they're gonna put Purdy in harm's way, right? I mean, what am I missing here, Jesse? Tell me.
No, I mean they do need to. Here's the thing though. Trent Williams is older. I don't think even when he's there, he's not really there for training camp. I'm telling you right now, I watched it last year. He barely did much of anything. Half the days
That's
he was sitting out. When he would show up, he wouldn't even do there. I think there was one day out of the 5 he actually did one-on-one drills. And then that day he didn't participate in 11 on 11. So it's like you're not getting a full practice out of Trent anyways. So I think it's not necessarily the end of the world if he's not there immediately, but certainly if Brock Purdy's lining up behind the offensive line, you would love to see Trent Williams out there at some point during the preseason for sure.
absolutely, absolutely. Oh, and by the way, didn't mean to miss fish and chips, KB toys. Man, I wish I need to get back in the chat. The chat's looking so good. All right, now,
I know.
Jesse, I got another question to ask you though.
Yes, sir.
What is going on with Drake Jackson? I saw today he was put on a pup. Did he even play much after the first 4 weeks?
No, remember he didn't even make it through the season. And that first week, if you look at it again, that was all Eric Armstead. He had 3 sacks, but they were all Eric Armstead cleanup sacks.
Right.
So
did he get hurt again? I miss it. Like I don't understand how he's on a pup.
I have no idea. He's on the he's on the pup again?
He's on a pup. Just announced this morning, bro. He's on the pup. That's what I'm saying. Chat, is it me? When I saw that, I got the notification. I'm like, wait, Greenlaw's on the pup, but so is Drake Jackson. Like he didn't play. Like, why is he on the pup?
What?
Yeah.
Wow, man.
I'm not making this ish up. It's crazy.
I really had high hopes for Drake Jackson. I think athletically, I mean, he really fits the mold, but he just I don't know, man. This is year 3. This is the make or break year for him, and it's not a good start. It's not a good start.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, we could use extra help on that D line, especially to spell Floyd when he has to, take a breather or two. And who's that person going to be? Who's that player? I was hoping it would be Drake Jackson, but he's going to see the field as much as I will.
Yeah, I mean they've got some young, Beal, Drake Jackson. I mean, you just got to hope that one of these young guys show through. I think Gross Matos is more of like a third down interior pass rusher, like what they used to do with Amenahu. They'll probably put him at like D tackle to rush the passer on third down. But they don't seem to have a really good viable option behind Bosa and Floyd. And that's certainly concerning, especially the way that you look at Chris Kasarik. He always does a full pull of his starters and puts in backups throughout the game to keep everybody fresh. So when that next 4 comes in, it's like you don't have not one, you have 0 bodies behind those 2 that can get after the passer from the edge. That is a little concerning for sure.
And you know what, Jesse? Someone just put it. I was just thinking this. PDX, of course. Tell me what's going on with Robert Beal when you see him in camp. Haven't heard much about him, from at least not from Grant and from a few others I listened to, but who will remain nameless. So can't wait to hear your thoughts about Beal. See, because he's got speed, right?
Oh yeah. No, he's a speed pass rusher for sure. So John V tapping in. He says, Jesse, what's going on, fellas? BB. My question is, if they rework Trent's contract, would that free up money for BA? So whenever you rework a deal, it always makes a player cheaper in that year. So yes and no. The reason I say no is because it is going to free up money, but the problem for BA is not money this year. That's not the problem, because when you rework his deal, his money's going to go down this year as well. It's just the way that it works. So they're not struggling to sign BA because of the salary cap this year. They're struggling to come to an agreement, probably based off of, the 49ers want an out after a couple years. He wants a certain guaranteed money. I actually believe that they've probably come to terms and did so a while ago on the average annual value and the total money. Really, where you get caught up is in the guarantees and then the outs for the team. And I think that's where they're really gridlocked at. I think they agree, hey, you're worth X amount AAV, but that's not ultimately what BA is looking for. He wants to get paid. So
yeah, you're right. And it probably could be that first check, that bonus check that he gets, that he's really trying to, that guaranteed. I get it too, because that sets him for life, generational wealth for maybe a couple of generations of his family. So I get that. But man, the way what we're hearing so far just sounds like that offense is in classic form, with terrible O tackle play, inability to get the passes off, at least downfield. So we're going to need BA on this team.
Yeah, most certainly. Coach says, he's trying to blame me. Like I'm the one that put in the credit card for him. I ordered the flight with Jesse on the phone. So I didn't press the buttons for you. I just said you got to get there this day. This is when we got to be there, Coach. I don't. Anyways, he says it's delayed, and now he's eating deep dish pizza and he's flying out in 2 hours. Okay,
that's Coach. Always late too.
We'll
that's
see.
My guy, though.
We'll see. I know. Did you see? You notice I'm on time usually when I'm not with Coach.
Yeah, no.
Anything goes wrong on this trip, I'm blaming Coach. Yeah.
Oh, for sure you got to blame Coach.
Yeah, that you're not winning that bet, but that's fine.
Winning that bet.
That's
that
fine.
hat right there is what I want. But late, let's say late second sports.
God,
Oh man, who else gonna call in so I can
that.
get off and listen to these guys and do some work?
Nah, I actually am starving, so I'm probably gonna go find some food to eat myself. Talk a little ish to Coach. Besides, also, what time is it right now on the West Coast? It's 5 o'clock, right?
5. Yep.
Listen, UFC starts in 2 hours, which means I got to get some food. I got to find some good internet so I can stream this bad boy, watch the UFC, and then sounds like I got to pick up Coach from the airport at like midnight, which is always a blessing. So, Brother Bob, thank you for calling in. I'm actually going to sign off here. Appreciate you, brother. And we'll be talking in the DMs as well. So much love.
That's right. Take care, everyone, and take care, everyone in the chat.
Later, bro. Brother Bob. I love Brother Bob, man. You know what? Speaking of Miami Dolphins, I should have recorded them. I'll have to go back and find it. The Miami Dolphins have a Brother Bob. They have. In fact, I thought it was Brother Bob until I actually saw, and I was like, oh, okay, it's not Brother Bob. But the voice, I thought it was Brother Bob. They have themselves a Brother Bob over there in their content creation world too. So doppelganger for sure. All right, y'all. Listen, appreciate the time. I know it was a quick one. It was meant more for you guys to call in, but you guys don't really want to talk. You want to talk through the chat. You guys want to talk with each other, but not me, which is, it makes me kind of sad a little bit, if I'm being honest. But, I get it. I totally get it. Also, internet's not fully stable either, so I don't know if I can trust bringing in That'll be it for me. Much love to y'all. Peace.